Hi. Have you ever seen a terrified speaker? I'll tell you, there's nothing worse, especially at a meeting where you're like sitting there excited to learn, and all of a sudden somebody stands up there and you're like, oh man, this person has no idea what they're doing. And that's brutal. You see, I was sitting at an event recently where there were plenty of great speakers that stood up. They were not professionals, they were volunteers, and they did a really good job. They were prepared. They had practiced in front of the mirror or the camera, whatever they had done, they came prepared. It was cool. And then all of a sudden, somebody stood up that was not as prepared or just simply terrified. And you could tell because she stood there and looked down the entire time, didn't even look up at the audience. And she held her paper like this and was shaking and talking and read the entire thing like this for about 10 minutes. Oh boy. I felt so bad for her because I thought, I know what that feels like. And you don't want to look up. But you have to look up. You have to do what you can to be good for the audience. And yes, there is a great fear of speaking, and we know that. But how do we overcome this crazy fear? You see, if we're not comfortable speaking in front of an audience, we may not be comfortable on a Zoom call when they call upon us, or even in a meeting when we have something that we know we need to say, we don't know how to say it, we trip over our words. Our body language is confusing. Our words are just not coming out at the right pace or the right place. If you're that kind of person that you're thinking, gosh, I sure hate speaking. I don't want to speak, but I have to speak. Whether it's for a job interview or maybe you're just trying to get to the next level in your career. Whatever it might be, you have the opportunity to improve your speaking every time that you do speak. So I would say to even just go live on any social media platform is important. So to have that commitment to make that promise to yourself to say, hey, I'm just going to go for it. I am going to try my best. I'm going to prepare something and try to share it. And it might be a train wreck, and that's okay. But if you've seen a terrified speaker, you know that they're not confident, they're not prepared. They can't get past that fear. And how do we get them past that? Well, I've put together a speaker club and it's through the John Maxwell team. I am a John Maxwell trained consultant, and I'm excited to be able to put this together because for the last 20 years, I've been coaching some of the speakers that you have either had at your events or you follow online or that you love and have filled your social media feed with goodness. And I have coached them and I still coach them. And now I'm doing a very special speaker club in Salt Lake City, Utah, which I'm excited about. And this is the launch of it. So we're offering this for free if you want to come and learn from me. I'll be dissecting what John Maxwell, the great John Maxwell, does. He's the highest paid non-celebrity speaker there is in the world. He's written 80 plus books, and he's got the Maxwell method of speaking along with 26 lessons of how to be a great speaker, whether it's the power of the pause. How long can you pause as a speaker? Most people are uncomfortable with that. They're like, I can't do it. No, you got to pause sometimes. Let it simmer. Are you comfortable with that? Even on a live stream, it feels a little bit weird because I'm like, I don't know if I just lost everybody, but that's okay. There's things that we do with our hands. What are we supposed to do? There's ways that we use our face, and I have found ways to use my face. Trust me. The words we use, the stories we choose. We'll be talking about so many of these things, and tomorrow is the launch event, which is free. In fact, we did a launch event on Wednesday as well. We're doing a couple of launches over the next week and a half. So tomorrow, Saturday, November 13th at 8 a.m., if you're interested in coming, it's in Sandy, Utah, which is just south of Salt Lake City, Utah. And just message me if you're interested, or you can take down my cell. It's 801-674-3668. Again, 801-674-3668. We'd love to have you. We've had a lot of people show interest, and then, because it's free, you're not sure who's going to show up. So I'd love your commitment. If you promise me that you'll be there, I promise you I'll be there. 8 a.m. till 9:30. It's going to get the day started off right. But the people that were there on Wednesday said it blew their minds. For me to be pausing John Maxwell's video and sharing what I observe within the speaking, whether it's his posture, whether it's his ability to stand or sit and make it meaningful. The things that he did with his body, his face, his voice. Imagine learning that. And like I said, I've taught people that have made millions of dollars as speakers, and I myself have. And can I help you to not be the terrified speaker? I know I can. And so this is not paid right now. This we're going to be launching more of it into the future, but these are the free ones. So join us tomorrow. I'm looking at the comments that Kurt Kurt says it usually gets better over time. Good to see you, Jason. Thank you, Kurt. Yes, it does get better over time, Kurt. To be speaking and to be practicing. Yeah, maybe it is your first time. Maybe it's your first try with a new speech. How and when and where can you practice it? Yes, it does get better over time. That's why we need to practice. And there's my good brother, Josh Hewlett. What does Josh say? Thank you for this on Wednesday. Yes, Josh was one of our participants there. Thank you, my brother, for being there. What a good guy. This was very, 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 very useful information. And the John Maxwell team was amazing to watch and learn from. Thank you, Jason Hewlett and the Promise Institute for making this available to the public. Thank you, Josh, for being there. It was so cool to have you. It's interesting to me as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a speaker who's made a living on stages around the world for over 20 years, to offer something like this and to have the people that showed up show up, which I appreciate them so much. Even one person drove all the way from Las Vegas, which blows my mind that someone would drive 6 hours one way to hear me for an hour and a half discussing speaking. But that's how cool this was. And then also to have my family there, not my children, not my wife, my brothers and my sisters. I'm grateful that they would be there because, if your family supports you, that's pretty darn cool, especially your siblings who grew up with you and know you the best. So I'm thankful for that. Josh Hewlett says it absolutely blew my mind. Yeah, I think the part that blew Josh's mind and everybody else's was the dissection of a great speaker. And very few people do it with the technique that I do just because of my performance background with imitation, as well as with being able to point out the signature moves of others and how we can discover that for ourselves. If you don't know what yours are, I'll help you discover that and figure it out. Kurt says, I owe a bunch to my Maxwell training. Yeah, John Maxwell's training is incredible. I mean, I invite you to look into it as well because, some people have done it well and others have just signed up and haven't done much with it. But I'll tell you, the people that really dive into it, like my friend, Alan Roberts, that guy's a master trainer in the Maxwell system. And he's actually going to be there with me tomorrow. So we have the Promise Institute and the co-founders, which is myself and Alan, Bud Heaton, and Heidi Totten. Heidi's in Kenya with a group of executives and people right now teaching the Promise out there. So she won't be with us. I'm not sure about Bud, but I do know Alan Roberts will be there. He is a John Maxwell certified coach, just like myself. I'm certified, and having Alan there, he is an incredible teacher, a great coach. You don't want to miss it. And I'll be there. So we're going to have fun because that's what I do. So along with the people that I coach in the speaker club, I also do coaching for CEOs that are trying to get better for their big corporate date, or they just want to be great on the Zoom, or they just want to figure out what they want to do after the CEO gig is over and they're going on with their life. I help them come up with their promised legacy. So it's a fun thing that I get to do for a living. I hope what you do is fun. And I hope that next time you speak, that you're not terrified. I hope you don't look down and read and shake and be nervous. And if you are nervous, just remember, every person in the audience wants you to succeed. You might not believe that, but it's true. I believe that. I believe that because when I'm in an audience, I'm sitting there like, you got this. I know you can do it. Come on. And I'm cheering them on, sending them good vibes. I believe the audience does that for those terrified speakers out there. Don't be a terrified speaker. Come join us. Speaker Club tomorrow, November 13th, Saturday morning, 8 a.m. It'll be a quick 90 minutes that very well may change the way you communicate, land a job, communicate with your spouse, and have influence. Have a great night.